Suppose lowercase c of x represents the rate at which the cost of producing x items changes as the number of items increases from a to b. Interpret the definite integral from a to b of c of x dx. When it says that little c of x represents the rate at which the cost changes, that is saying that little c of x is the derivative of capital C of x, where capital C of x is the total cost of producing x items. So that means the definite integral from a to b of little c of x dx would be capital C of b minus capital C of a, because capital C is an antiderivative of little c. Little c is the derivative, capital C is the antiderivative. So in words, this represents the change in total cost as production increases from A items to B items. Let's look at a similar example. If capital S of t represents the rate at which a population hears news between days A and B, interpret the definite integral from a to b of S of t dt. So the function in the integrand represents a rate. And in this problem, they're using a capital letter to represent a rate, which can happen. It's a little confusing, so you have to read carefully what the description of the function is. And it's key to notice that word rate. So the definite integral then, it represents the number of people, and we can say the total number if that makes this make more sense. The total number of people who hear the news between days A and B. So why would that be? Well, look at it this way. Let's let, how about P of t be the number of people who hear news by day t. So that's total number of people who've heard the news up to day t. Then S of t, because it's the rate at which the population hears news, that's going to be the derivative of the total number of people. In other words, P of t is an antiderivative of S of t. So this definite integral from a to b of S of t dt would give you P of b minus P of a. So that is the number of people who heard the news by day B minus all the people, so the number of people who heard the news by day A, which is another way of saying the total number of people who hear the news between days A and B.